Hello, everyone. Good morning to you, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. It's a happy morning, and I'm very grateful for life and thankful to be with you here this morning as we are going to be taking another fresh new look at the financial market. Well, as usual, we are going to be deliberating on the financial landscape from a technical perspective using simple and fundamental tools such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to unravel the potential trajectory of price action for today's trading session. Well, we have been monitoring three major assets since the beginning of this week, and these are the US All Spot, the GBPUSD, and of course the XAUUSD, and all of which have been doing fairly well, I will say, since the beginning of the week. We saw some positive traction in favor of the US All Spot, which we actually took advantage of to buy positions on that one. Then we also had some positive traction too as well from the GBPUSD, which is currently expecting our ascending trend lines from yesterday's trading session. Then finally on the XAUUSD, initially we had a sell position which moved a little bit, I think about 40 pips thereabout before we were taken out. Remember, we said we will be moving our stop losses accordingly, and we did. It took us out of that position at break even before price action finally break out of our weekly key level at the 1980 to incite another bullish momentum to the upside. So we are going to be looking at this today to see how we are going to be managing our existing position and see how we are also going to be positioning ourselves ahead of the London and New York session today. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, you're highly welcome on board. I'm really excited to have you around with us this morning. And you may be asking what this is all about, since you're new with us, you really don't know what is going on here. Well, briefly, let me say that as technical traders, we usually gather here on a daily basis, come together as a community and engage in follow-ups and reviews of our current positions in preparation of both the London and the New York session. The live session officially kickstarts 9:05 a.m. West African time and 8:05 a.m. UTC. And in fact, I encourage you to stay tuned in so you don't miss out on any of the valuable ideas we will be deliberating on today. My aim and purpose is to equip you with the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed trading decisions independently. The more time you spend with me, the better you will become at comprehending my analytical approach and utilizing the information gathered here to make your own trading decisions and strategies. So once again, I welcome you guys on board. Then I would also like to state here that the Forex Morning Mastery is a platform where we only deliberate on the 1 hour time frame, which happens to be our execution time frame. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to the levels you will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame today, I will encourage you to watch my videos, which I usually share during the weekends. As in these videos, I was able to do a top-down analysis from the higher time frame in anticipation of the new week. And so the Forex Morning Mastery is basically a follow-up detail to those videos. And for those of you who have not watched these videos, I encourage you to watch them. And if you can't find them on my channel, well, you have a shortcut. I have the links right in the description box of this current video you are watching, so you could check them out after the live session to furnish yourself with insight into what things are looking like on the higher time frame. And it will also help you to understand the basics of price action and of course how to use it to capitalize on the next move. So with that being said here, we shall be diving right into the business, of course. And before I do, I can see some comments here. Let me just run through them. I can see Raja BD, good morning to you. And Krishna Veni, good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. I see you, Kelechi. How are you doing, Kelechi? Glad to have you around. Bayuni good morning to you guys. I really, really do appreciate your presence. So, with that being said, we shall be diving right into the business for today. And as usual, the first thing we normally do is to keep tabs with the fundamental factors that will be affecting the market sentiment for today. And for those of you who have been with me for a while now, you know how important this is, as these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. By monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us valuable information needed to position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after this economic event. Now, on the economic calendar, the usual practice in this community is to focus on high impactful events from the economic dockets that affect the assets on our watch list. And based on the asset we have on our watch list, we have been monitoring the United States and the United Kingdom economic dockets. However, for today, Tuesday, November 21, we do not have more than a high impact event, which of course is the FOMC, the publication of the FOMC meeting minute, which will be coming up in about that's about how many hours is that? So we have about 11 hours or so before this event will be released. And for those of you who do not know, well, the importance of this is that the meeting serves as an official record of the meeting held by the Federal Reserve, typically released 3 weeks after each scheduled meeting. And this minute provides a detailed account of discussions, debates, and decisions made by the committee members regarding monetary policy, economic conditions, and of course, future policy actions. And this is one event majority in the market will be looking forward to. And of course, in anticipation of such event, we are likely going to be seeing some consolidation phase, indecisive phase in the market. And of course, we will definitely be taking this into consideration while we look out for new trading opportunities for today. However, besides the the FOMC minute, there are other impactful events which are not categorized under the high impactful events. So let's take it a step further by including the medium impactful events. And if we do that, you will see that we do have some other impactful events today coming up today, like the existing home sales change from the United States economic docket as well. And for those of you who don't know, well, this is a data released by the National Association of Realtors, and it provides an estimated value of housing market conditions. And you know how the housing market is considered as a very sensitive factor to the US economy. Now, this is likely going to be generating some volatility as well. And generally speaking, a high reading is considered as positive for the US economy, which will in the long run affect the dollar positively as well. Now, if we look at the previous data for the month of September, it came in at a deficit of 2%, so there was a little bit of contraction on that one, though we really do not have a consensus projection yet, but I'm of the opinion that this will come probably an hour or two before the event finally comes in. But one thing for sure is we want to see how the market participant will be anticipating this event. And of course, we know that this would reflect on the chart as price action. So with that being said here, and with the information we have gathered on this economic calendar, let's dive right into the business and let's look at the chart from a technical standpoint to position ourselves for today's trading session. So as usual, the first asset we will be taking on this morning is going to be the USOILSPOT. Let's see if this is going to load up as quickly as possible, as it usually takes time before it comes up. And while it loads up, I can see some couple of comments here. Hello, Torres Master. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around. Hadam Ishak, innocent babe, right? Good morning to you. I'm doing very well here, and thank you very much for checking in. Ismet Keskin, good morning to you. Innocent babe, okay. Innocent babe says here that you will check GBPUSD for me. All right, no problem. Let's see how that we are going to be treating that, of course, since it's going to be part of our watch list for today. So let's see how this is going to play out on that one. All right, Eric Mudavadi, good morning to you too, and thank you, and glad to have you around with us this morning. So it's finally loaded up. So the first asset we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the US All Spot. And for those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you definitely must have gotten an update as regards to how we are going to be managing our position on this asset for today. Well, oil prices kicked off the week on a very strong note as we saw price action move significantly well until it hit the $78.40 level, where we begin to notice some selling pressure, especially during the Asian session, bringing price back down into our ascending trend line. Well, at this point in time, I still want to consider this sell pressure as a retracement of the impulsive move that started this week. And yesterday we had about 2 buy positions running. I do hope you took advantage of that opportunity, which gave us, I think we had about over 100 pips thereabouts on the 2 buy positions. And another thing I would like to state here is how what fundamental factors that will be affecting the market sentiments for today. Now remember, we are looking forward to the FOMC meeting minutes, which will be published much more later today, and this also will be giving us an insight into future policy rate from the United States, which you all know the US oil is dollar dominated, of course, and whatever affects the dollar will definitely affect the US oil as well. Then we're also going to be looking forward to the release of the US crude oil inventory data, and including the API weekly crude oil stock and the EIA crude oil stocks change for the week ending for November 17th. This will be coming up today and tomorrow, which is one thing that majority in the market will be looking forward to guide the decisions for today. So with these fundamental factors in mind, how do we expect the market participant to anticipate this event, let alone the immediate reaction to the event when it finally happens? Now let's go right back into the chart here, and from a technical standpoint, let's see what is really going on here. Now the first thing on the 1 hour time frame was this. I was able to identify an ascending trend line this morning while trying to dissect the current market structure. And if you look at the structure closely, after connecting the series of higher lows here, we have a couple of ascending trend lines to work with for today, which obviously will be guiding our trading decisions for today. So we have the first one here, which is the major one, and then we have the second one here, which is a temporary one, which is not really significant at this point in time as price action had already broken down that one. So the major one we will be looking out for is this one, duly highlighted on your screen right now, and depending on how price reacts to this trend line today, will determine how we are going to be positioning ourselves for the next move. Then in addition to the ascending trend line, remember that we had a range identified yesterday where price action was initially confined within the $76.80 level and the $76 area, which happens to be our key level for the week. And of course, you know how we do it in this community. Whenever price action falls into a range like this, we want to exercise patience and wait for price to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. Now, in this case scenario, it was quite obvious that price action wants to continue to the upside as we saw price break out of the $76.80 level. And during our live session yesterday, we talked about having a buy stop order above the structure. Then during the later part of yesterday, we also added more levels like the 77 $78 area, another psychological level, which we said we will be adding more position. And in fact, we saw how price action moved over, let's see, how many pips was this one? Over 150 pips for the first buy position, while the second buy position moved about 48 pips before the bearish momentum came in. And I can remember that I did mention on my public platforms on TradingView and Telegram platform that we want to be moving our stop losses to protect the current buy position, as depending on how price reacts to the $78.40 level would decide if we will be adding more buy position. But unfortunately for buyers, sellers came in, and I do hope you moved your stop losses accordingly. If you had done so, you must have been taken out from the buy position, at least with a moderate profit, minimum of 100 pips thereabout on that one. Now, with that being said here, currently we do not have any buy positions running, and let's see how we want to be positioning ourselves for the next move today. Now, one interesting thing about this current structure right now is that price is currently oscillating around the major ascending trend line we identified here in the last 3 hours, which further emphasize how important this current structure is around this area. Now, this begs a couple of questions right now. The first one is, will price action respect the ascending trend line to incite an uptrend continuation, or are we likely going to be seeing price break down the ascending trend line to incite a sell-off? Now, another thing I would like to call your attention to here is the breakout of that resistant line of this week at the $76.80 level. Remember, this was the resistant line of that channel we identified yesterday, and of course we saw price break out of that resistant line. And usually, from a theoretical and technical perspective, we do expect that at some point in time price may likely retrace, come back to retest the structure in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum. So I have two bus stops here where I will be looking out for buying opportunities, or probably a reversal setup that suggests that price will continue to the upside. So we have a bus stop right here around the ascending channel trend line, and then we also have another bus stop around the $76.80 level. Now, what we are going to be looking out for at these bus stops are reversal patterns. It could be a double bottom structure, head and shoulder pattern, or whatever reversal pattern you can think of. Mark out the neckline to validate the reversal pattern, and when price breaks out of the neckline, we want to be getting ready to buy. So to give a visual representation of what I'm talking about here, so if price comes into this area, which it has already done, and we begin to see some higher lows around this area leading into something like a double bottom structure maybe, then we have our neckline marked out. I'm just thinking maybe the neckline could fall somewhere around the $77.50 level. That is still a it's still a speculation at this point in time, because we really have not gotten something significant to tell us that truly we are having a reversal pattern around this area. So if we have a neckline there, then a breakout retest of that structure will be welcoming some buy positions here, and then price will continue to the upside in that regard. Then a breakout of the $77.95 level and the $78.40 area will be welcoming more buy positions here. Personally, I still feel that the USOILSPOT is going to continue to the upside. Remember that the OPEC Plus are having a meeting on the 26th, yes, on Sunday of this week. On Sunday of this week, there is a meeting coming up by the OPEC Plus member, and there's this general belief that they are likely going to be doing further supply cuts again, which is likely going to be driving price to the upside in that regard. So I still hold on to a bullish bias here, but when it will start is what we really don't know, but we have structures here that will guide our decisions here. So we have the first bus stop here, and then we also have the second bus stop around this area. So if we see reversal patterns around the $76.80 area, then we want to be joining a bullish move around that area. So patience is very, very required at this current structure. And trust me, I will be with you on both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates as to how we are going to be managing this position. So let's see how the market will play out maybe in the next 1 to 2 hours. And of course, I will definitely give you updates. So with that being said here, I think we have finalized on this one. But if at any point in time price breaks down the $76.80 level, we might likely be seeing some selling opportunities. But I wouldn't want to say anything on that one right now because things are looking very bullish to me at this current point in time. So if any selling potential comes in, I will definitely let you know in the comment section. So if you have any questions whatsoever as regards to my current explanation or you need some further clarifications, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions, while you also use that time to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today's trading session. So I see your greetings, everyone. Thank you, guys. Eric Mudavadi, Sheriff Abdukadir, good morning to you. Thank you very much for checking in. You're welcome, Innocent Babe. Ika's Diary, good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning as well. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I do want to assume. Okay, I just saw a question come in right now from Phyllis. Hello, Phyllis. How are you doing today? Do you wait for the 1 hour candle to close? Can I see, close above the neckline for you to take a position? So it's advised to set buy limit at 76 level. Okay, so I think the two questions are very, very similar. And I usually mention this in this community. So there are two ways to which we usually capitalize on entry points, especially breakouts of structures in this community. Now, especially when we are already profitable so far this week. For instance, in this case scenario, we are already profitable. We have some profit in our kitty at this point in time. So in this case scenario, you can easily place your buy stop or your buy limit and then risk that situation, and let's see if it's going to work. So even if it doesn't work, we know that we are only risking some of the profits we had made so far this week. However, if you are new and you're joining us for the first time, then you want to be waiting for confirmations to happen before you jump into any positions. So you do want to see a breakout of structure happen, then price come back to retest the structure, maybe on the lower time frame, your 5, 10 or 15 minutes time frame, to look out for confirmation to join. So it's always easier for you to join at the beginning of the week so you can be profitable with us. So when you are profitable, you can easily place your buy stop and buy limit order to test waters and see if that thing it's going to work. So that is basically how we do it here. So we do have to a perspective to taking advantage of breakouts of structure. So personally for me, I will just have a buy stop order because I'm profitable so far, and then let's see how this is going to work. So I hope I answered your question, Hadam Ishak and Filis there. So Fred, good morning to you too. Jonah Aruna, good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. So with that being said here, I want to take this as a confirmation, as there are no other questions here, that we are all on the same page. And in that regard, let's move on to the next asset on our watch list. All right, so the next asset we are looking at this morning is the GBPUSD, that is the cable market. And in fact, since the beginning of this week, we have been buying this asset. And in fact, we have 1, 2, 3 buy positions currently running on this particular asset, and I think we have roughly about 100 pips thereabout on these multiple entries on the GBPUSD. And it's the third consecutive day that the pound sterling have been finding higher highs and higher lows in this market. Since last week Thursday, we have been witnessing this bullish momentum, which we of course took advantage of. Now remember, yesterday we were looking forward to the Bank of England's Governor Andrew Bailey's speech, which happened at the Henry Plum Memorial Lecture yesterday, and of course everyone was anticipating to see what he will say. And what he said was a little bit of a positive outlook for the pound sterling, which of course has bolstered the momentum we are seeing so far. And one of the highlights I was able to come up with, I think I wrote it down somewhere, so I want to share it with you guys. Let me look out for it here. So one of the remarks he said, he talked about the inflationary status of the United Kingdom, and of course he said here that while inflation, this is what he said, while inflation has exceeded the main target, signs are emerging that runaway prices, particularly in the food sector, are starting to stabilize. He also acknowledged that the overall inflation surpassed the Bank of England's main 2.0% target, which everyone knows, of course, and despite the UK's inflation easing to 4.6%, though we've been seeing some gradual contraction in that inflation data in the latest reading, there is still a significant gap to bridge before returning to 2.0% target. Now, with this information is said here, I'm of the opinion that there is a likelihood that there could be more interest rate hike before the end of the year, and this for me is a positive window for investors, as the higher the interest rates, the better they will want to put their funds into that particular asset. And because of this latest development and speech he made yesterday, majority are considering that there's likely going to be another interest rate hike, and this has also bolstered the momentum of the pound sterling. But we do not want to get too carried away, because anything could still happen. We could still see some profit-taking activities go on in this market. Of course, we do know that psychologically, majority who had bought at a cheap price may want to be doing some profit-taking activities, which could reflect on the chart as a retracement move. So let's keep our options as open as possible on this one. Now, let's look at things from a technical standpoint here. What has really been going on in this market since the beginning of the week, and in fact, what led to the decisions we made. Now, during our live session yesterday, we initially acknowledged that price action was caught within a range for the first 4 to 5 hours of the new week. As we saw here, price confined within the 1.24650 level and the 1.24465 level to give us an insight into the indecisive phase that happened here. So I told you how I missed out on that opportunity at the breakout of that resistance line. It was very, very early in this part of the world, so I was still very much fast asleep. But I did mention that if it so happens that price comes back to retest the structure, we will be ready to capitalize on that uptrend move, and this was exactly what happened. Price came back, and for 4 good hours we begin to notice buy pressure resume around the 1.24650 area, and I did updated us on my public platforms that we do want to be getting ready to buy because of this continued buy pressure around this area, and since that moment we have been buying this asset. Then remember that we also added multiple levels like the 1.24950, which we said we will be adding more buy positions if price breaks out of the structure. Then we also added one more at the 1.25100 area, which of course all got broken to the upside. So currently you should be having a minimum of 3 buy positions running in profit at this point, with a minimum of 100 pips to be precise on all of these positions. Now, with the situation we have right now, you know how we do it. The next thing we want to be doing is to move all our stop losses to secure the current buy position. And before we talk about moving our stop losses here, I want to emphasize how price action has been respecting an ascending trend line since last week Friday, as you will see here, after I connected a series of higher lows, giving me this beautiful ascending trend line to work with. And you know how we use ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we want to feel comfortable in our buy positions, and of course continue to look out for more buying opportunities here. Now, with the situation we have here, the stop losses for this position should be somewhere around that trend line, and at this point I will be suggesting that anywhere around the 1.25150 and the 1.24 24950 or 2500 area seems most appropriate to secure all positions. And also remember that while we are trying to secure our positions, we do want to be giving enough breathing space for price action to move around. Maybe it wants to do some retracement before it continues to the uptrend, so we can still be in that trade. So with a well-secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our next line of action? Well, this morning I updated this chart. For those of you who are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will be familiar with this, as we now have another new level at a psychological price level, which is at the 1.25400 area, and we saw what happened around this area during the Asian session. As soon as price got into that level, we begin to notice selling pressure around this area, and this has lasted about 6 hours now. Price has been witnessing selling pressure below the 1.254, and I'm of the opinion that we might likely be seeing price retrace maybe back into this ascending trend line, where the appearance or emergence of buy pressure will welcome another wave of bullish momentum. So at this point in time, as long as price action still remains above this ascending trend line, we remain bullish in this particular market. And if price goes on to break out of the 1.25400 level, we do want to be adding more buy positions to our existing trade. So on the GBPUSD, we maintain a bullish bias here. However, if it so happens anytime today, which I doubt will happen, but if it so happens that price action breaks down the ascending trend line, then we might be considering some short-term selling opportunities here. And personally, I will be suggesting that we need some significant confirmations before you want to be joining the bearish move. And one thing I will say here is that a breakdown of the ascending trend line will be considered to be a counter trend opportunity. So if you are not comfortable taking counter trend opportunities, I will encourage you to stay clear of this market and wait for that move to end to join the next momentum to the upside. So if we do have something like a breakdown retest of the trend line, we might be looking at the 1.2400 area. Remember, this is our key level for this week, and this level was broken on Friday of last week's trading session. So price may come back and retest that structure, which will be dovetailing to about, let's see how many pips, over 100 pips on that one, before the next momentum happens. But I doubt if this will happen, but if it does happen, let's be on standby to capitalize on that one. And of course, I will be giving you updates on my TradingView and Telegram platform as time goes by. So these are my views on the GBPUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section, as I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before we move on to the last and final asset on our watch list for today. And you can as well use that time to mark out these levels on your charts. Okay, so I see your comment, Innocent Babe. All right, glad you found that useful. I see your comment, Phyllis. I hope you found that useful too as well. All right, no problem. I see another comment here from Amarsana. Hamasana, good morning to you. Glad to have you around. I'm very sure this is your first time here with us, and I'm very glad to have you around with us. So you are asking us to do the GBP JPY, and unfortunately, we do have a repertoire of assets on our watch list, which we usually do on a weekly basis. So for this week, we only have 3 assets we've been monitoring so far, and the Forex Morning Mastery is basically a platform where we do follow up on all of these assets. So I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to do the GBP JPY in that case, in this case scenario. All right. So in the absence of no other questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page, and in that regard, we will be moving on to the last and final asset on our watch list. So the next asset on our watch list for today is my favorite, and that is the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And at this point in time, it appears I've already been taken out of the position based on what I'm seeing on the chart right now. Has selling pressure persist below the 1,993 as it is on the chart right now. So I hope you moved your stop losses too accordingly. And let's run through what has been going on here. Well, since yesterday we saw some upward momentum after being taken out of our sell position. Remember, we had a sell position triggered yesterday after price action broke down the $1,973.50 level just right here, and it moved about 80 pips before we got taken out. I did, for those of you who were part of the Forex, the XAUUSD live window, we talked about the moving our stop losses to secure the current position. And look at what happened. Price did take us out of that position. And one of the things we said here yesterday was that if price action goes on to break out of the 1,980, we want to be having a buy stop order above that level to capitalize on the uptrend. And this was exactly what happened. Price broke out of the structure, moved over 160 pips from 2 buy positions, as at the time I published my commentary on this asset this morning on my public platforms. Now, the recent surge in gold prices could be seen as a platform, could be seen as a result of the speculation of an earlier rate cut by the Federal Reserve of the United States, potentially as soon as March 2024. And this is due to the dovish outlook, which has resulted in one, the inflationary data we saw last week, which came in below expectations, and of course the US Treasury bond yield, which is currently declining at the moment, and this could be a limiting factor for the US dollar, and this usually affect positively the safe haven asset such as the gold. Now, let's look at the structure at this point in time. Personally, I'm already out of this position as I moved my stop losses to somewhere around the $1,988.50 level, which has already $89 area, which has already been taken out at this point in time. And for those of you who still have a buy position running, I will say move your stop losses, secure it right now, because we never can tell. There's continuous selling pressure around the 1,993 could incite some sell-off in this particular market. Now, let's look at what is going on here from a technical standpoint. Now, since the beginning of last week, Friday, we saw this descending trend line, right? And after connecting the series of lower highs, we had this trend line marked out during the New York session yesterday. For those of you who are with me on the XAUUSD live window platform, you saw how we identified this level. Now, when price broke out of this level, it was of this trend line, it was a good signal that we are likely going to the upside. And now, from a technical standpoint, when we usually witness this kind of breakout of structure, we do expect that some point in time price may likely come back at some point to retest the structure in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum. So with the sell pressure we're noticing at this juncture, we might likely be seeing price drop, maybe break down this ascending trend line to inside back into that area around the 1968, which interestingly shares a confluence with that descending trend line, maybe to incite an uptrend move. So that is one scenario I want us to be taking into consideration while we continue to monitor this price action. Then secondly, if you look at the structure, I was able to spot an ascending trend line after capturing the movement of price action since last week Friday. And if we connect the series of higher lows appropriately, we have a beautiful ascending trend line to work with for today. And of course, you do know how we treat our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we'll feel comfortable in a buy positions, while we also look out for more buying opportunities to capitalize on. Now, with the present situation of this market structure, price remains above the ascending trend line, which makes it which makes the bullish outlook very valid at this point in time. Now, if you look at this structure closely, remember that at the beginning of the week, we had the situation where price action was confined within the 1985 and the 1973 level, which emphasized the level of indecision in the market before price broke down the support line. Now that price action has broken out of the 1985, and are we going to see price retrace back into that structure today? And if you look at that structure here, interestingly, it shares a beautiful confluence with that ascending trend line. So we want to be patient at this point in time to see how the market is going to be reacting to this confluence today. How we're going to be seeing some buy pressure around that area, making it another platform to build new buy pressure, maybe something like this into the structure, where the appearance of double bottom structure here will give us a beautiful opportunity to join an uptrend continuation. Now, if we identify a reversal pattern around this area, remember we want to have our neckline marked out so that we can use it to validate the potency of that reversal pattern. So let's see how the market will play out around this area. So patience is hereby required at this juncture in time. So let's see if the market will respect the 1985, buy pressure around this area, will welcome more buying opportunities, and if price goes on to further break out of the $1,993.50 level, we want to be adding more buy positions to our existing trade. However, if price action gets into the 1985 and instead of buy pressure around that area, we see a situation where the ascending trend line and the 1985 level is broken to the downside, then at this point we want to start considering the idea of selling this asset. Now, a retest of structure will be a beautiful confirmation in that regard, and let's see how far this momentum will go. Will it get to as far as this descending trend line we identified around the $1,967.50 level and the $1,965.50 area, which happens to be the lowest point for this week, before another wave of bullish momentum will happen, or it will even break it down to the downside? So we don't know yet. Let's see how the market will play out. But if we see selling pressure below the 1985, we are looking at something about 200 pips to catch here. So you can see how crucial the 1985 and this ascending trend line will be if price action ever comes into that area. So let's keep an eye on the zone. Let's mark it out on our charts. So depending on how price reacts to the 1985 will determine if we are going to be buying the XAUUSD today or selling this asset today. But trust me, I will be with you in the comment section to give you updates on what we will be doing if price action ever gets into that point. And of course, if you are going to be part of the XAUUSD live window, which will kickstart at the beginning of the New York session, definitely you will be getting a feedback on how we are going to be managing our position there. Now, with that being said here, if price does not get into the 1985 at all, and instead it continues to find new highs, then a breakout of the $1,993.50 level will be welcoming buy positions here, as this is the highest point price action has been for this week, and the breakout of that structure is going to be taking out all the sell positions there, further giving us confirmations to join an uptrend move. So these are my views here on the XAUUSD for today. I do hope I made myself very clear. But if you have any questions whatsoever as regards to the setup, feel free to let me know in the comment section. It's a simple setup we have here. Let's see how the market will play out in the next couple of hours. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions while I use that time to also round off here. Then I would like to say here that kindly support this project. If you have found this content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decisions for today's trading session, I really appreciate your support by giving the video a thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact it also helps the algorithm promote the video to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them too. And thank you very much as you do so. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so that you can be privileged to see new updates and commentaries, and of course live sessions that will also help you alleviate your proficiency in price action too as well. And I did drop a link to the XAUUSD live window right in the comment section. It's pinned at the top of the comment section, so you do want to be clicking on that link. Click on the notify me button so you can get notified as soon as we come on live. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time who do not know what the XAUUSD live window is all about, well, this is a platform that was born out of popular demand from this community, where we all come together to monitor real-time price action on the XAUUSD during the New York session. So it usually kickstarts 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session. So I encourage you to click on the notify me button so you will get notified as soon as I come online. So on this note, let's see if there are any questions, and then we will be rounding up for today's trading session. All right, so I can see a couple of comments here. Finalists, once you take a trade, how do you know where your TP target is? Well, TP target, well, personally, it's it depends on the individual that is trading. So you see, we have a wide range of viewers here, from scalpers, day traders, swing traders, and positional traders in this community. And whatever decision you are making is actually your independent decision. And what we're simply doing in this platform is to identify potential trading opportunity from a long-term perspective. Now, I will advise you to use your own knowledge in trading to identify whatever position you want to be using as your TP target, whatever level or zone you want to be using as both your TP target and your stop losses on this one. So basically, we have levels which we have on the chart, like trend lines and key levels, which you can use to guide your decisions. And of course, if you looked at the daily time frame, if you had watched my video on the higher time frame, you will see I had some levels that are placed at higher points, which could serve as TP target if you are buying, and we have some level at a lower point which could serve as TP target if we are selling. So use your discretion in alignment with the levels I identified on the higher time frame. And if you don't have an idea of the levels I identified on the higher time frame, you can check the videos right in the comment section and the description box below, and you will get a better view onto the holistic perspective onto this asset. Okay, boss, I would like to see from Madam Ishak here. I will see if I may get time to meet you on your next. Okay, all right, no problem then. I'll be very glad to see you there too as well. Ike's Diary says Fibonacci key level also there near to 190 area. Well, good. Well, personally, I do use the Fibonacci retracement tool, but I usually place my structures higher than the key level, so than the Fibonacci key level. So in fact, if I do not have significant levels on my chart, then I can rely on my Fibonacci tool to identify this level. But if I can have significant levels on my chart, there is no point for me to look at these Fibonacci levels. But if it works for you, it's fine and okay. So that is that on that one. Thank you for this confirmation. Spot on. Yes, okay. Raja BD, do you have a course? Very good question there. Okay, I do have a course program which is yet to mature at this point. So I'm working on my website at the moment where we will be having access to some of my course programs. But at the moment, I only run a mentorship program which is designed for a one-to-one relationship with my clients. But at the moment, but don't worry, before the end of December, we should be having some course outline out. So my teams are putting up some avenue through which we can actually relate this to the world. So don't worry, stay tuned in. That will be coming up very, very soon. And so in the absence of no questions, I do want to assume that we are all on the same page at this point in time. And in that regard, we shall be rounding off for today's trading session. It has been a wonderful moment with you guys today, as I did enjoy every single moment with you guys. And in fact, during the course of today's session, we were able to attend to three major assets which we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week, which includes the USOILSPOT, the GBPUSD, and of course the XAUUSD, all of which we were able to identify simple setups that we will be using to position ourselves for the next move. And I do hope you are able to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. So it's on this note, I want to wish us all the best of luck. And for those of you who joined us for the first time, I do hope you are able to gain one or two things from what we discussed here today. And in fact, I encourage you to be part of my subsequent editions, as the more time you spend with us in this community, the better you get to understand my analytical approach and eventually be able to use the information gathered here to make your own independent trading decisions going forward. So it's on this note, I wish us best of luck, and please remember to have a defined risk management strategy to protect your positions against any sudden pullback that may happen. Remember, every decision you are making in the financial market is more or less an educated guess until price action hits your TP target. So I wish us all the best of luck. I see your comment, Adam Ishak. Adam Ishak, yes, you can contact me on Telegram. The ID for my Telegram is scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now, so you can be with me on Telegram, or check my description box below. You can see my email, my Telegram contact, my phone numbers are right there in the description box below. All right, you're welcome, Ike's Diary, and do have a wonderful evening, everyone. See you all in the comment section of both my TradingView Telegram platform and the XAUUSD live window as we continue to monitor price action. Trade smart, trade consciously. Good morning, everyone. Bye-bye.